Mark Rogers TV, talking college football, of course, but talking recruiting this time of year. We're in the middle of June, looking forward to kickoff in about 10 or 12 weeks. We got Dan Rubin on the line from BC Interruption with some really good news for Boston College Eagle fans. Dan, how'd this come together for this linebacker, Ethan Tucky?
Well, four-star kid out of the state of Ohio, which is always fun when we're able to get a guy out of the Mid-Atlantic after getting a few guys out-recruited by schools like Penn State and the Midwest schools. It's always exciting when you're able to get a guy from there right off the bat. But yeah, Sunday we saw a tweet out that AJ Black, my coworker over at BC Interruption, saw a tweet that said, yeah, this kid Ethan Tucky is going to announce he narrowed down to his last four. He's going to announce tonight. And I was between Kentucky, Boston College, and a couple of other schools. And over the day with social media, we saw on Twitter that he was a strong solid for possible at Kentucky. 24/7 had him at Kentucky. And then over the day, we saw all these other guys that were coming up saying, I think Boston College has a good chance. And BC has a really good chance. And then all of a sudden, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Rivals 24/7 and Rivals came out and said, we think he's going to commit to Boston College. And then he made his announcement on Twitter at 6 o'clock. And by 6:02, all of a sudden we got ourselves a middle linebacker.
That's good stuff. And especially when you throw around Kentucky these days. So if you're keeping up with the recruiting rankings in recent years, Mark Stoops is doing a job in Lexington. He's brought in 2 consecutive top 20 classes there. So when you win a kid over Kentucky these days, that's saying something, and they've really recruited well in Ohio the last few years. You also have a quarterback in Anthony Brown out of New Jersey who seems to be impressing the scouts and the evaluators a little bit more than he had previously done.
Yeah, he's been a really pleasant surprise, a 3-star kid out of New Jersey from St. John Vianney High School, out of Holmdel, New Jersey, a dual threat type of kid. Wasn't ranked nationally and wasn't really making any waves nationally, but BC out-recruited Syracuse actually in conference too to pick him up, which is always nice whenever you're able to beat out a rival in your own division for a kid who really could make an impact or you have the perception could make an impact. It's almost like a 4-point win, and when you're able to get the 2 points by winning, by getting your kid, and then you take him away from one of your rivals, that's even better. But Anthony Brown goes up to the Elite 11 competition and has really been impressing scouts, and they've actually started to adjust some of his scores and have elevated him to within a couple of points of now becoming a 4-star recruit, which now if you're at Boston College, you're looking at, well, you do have your sophomore quarterback in Darius Wade, but Anthony Brown comes in 2016. That'll be Wade's junior year. Maybe you get a redshirt year for him to transition. And all of a sudden, you've got a kid who, as a sophomore, can step in, or as a redshirt freshman, I should say, step in with a guy who's a senior and really start making an impact. So you're starting to see at Boston College a little bit of the long-term planning of Steve Adazio, which is something new for us. It's unbelievable. We've never seen any of this as fans, as journalists. That you're starting to see 2017, 2018 start to take shape when you're in 2015. We were just trying to get to the next year out of back in the old days under Frank Spaziani.
Talking of Boston College recruiting 2016 with Dan Rubin of BC Interruption. So you're monitoring the social media just like everybody else, and it's completely changed the game of recruiting from so many angles, from the time in which we are able to get the commitment, get it finalized, see that, well, it's not finalized until it's signed, but you know what I mean in regards to getting the commitment from the kid. The information flow is so quick, and also seeing the buzz out there in regards to the interaction between certain kids that played together or played against each other, and you're seeing that kind of favor BC these days.
Well, it's really interesting, and I've been a big proponent of social media in terms of marketing with the athletic department itself. I've always felt that it's free marketing. You can go up on social media as long as you have the wherewithal to create graphics or videos or different things. You can put them all up on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or any of the several thousand social media sites that are out there. And all of a sudden you've got free marketing, free awareness to your program, which is something that's really great. One of the things that I never anticipated and I couldn't possibly have expected was watching these kids start to reach out and say, come to BC. And they're not maybe doing it directly. They're maybe not sending, messages to another guy and saying, like, you should come here and play with me. But they're saying things like, we want to build a dynasty here. We want to do it here. We want to play here. I can't wait to be there. John Hilliman, who's a running back for Boston College, who's a true sophomore this year, he got a magazine cover from the Sporting News, I think, and you saw some of the stuff come out about how he said, it's great that they can talk about me on Friday, but I'd rather they talk about the team on Monday. And you're seeing things like that, and anytime you now see that get retweeted or you see that get picked up, that's going out to kids who are following. And if you're a kid from New Jersey who maybe played against him, like Anthony Brown being from New Jersey, he knows who John Hilliman is. He sees that sort of thing. He has that type of awareness. I can't help but think that actually played a role in it. And then when you see a guy like Anthony Brown make his commitment with all the different viral follows that he'll get, he might acquire people like us from Boston College or from the media, but he's already got the baseline of the followers along from his own home. And that then helps, I feel, helps develop a pipeline. And I've blown away by how it's worked out. And I'm continually blown away with how it is working out with the way these kids talk to each other. I feel like I'm an old Kaji guy when I'm like, hey, that Twitter box is really something fun, but it really is, and it's been fun to watch.
It's how they've been raised to a certain extent. So we got 18-year-old kids who've been on Twitter for maybe 4 or 5 years, possibly. So this is how they've grown up in high school, being on Twitter. So it's not a new thing to them. It's just the way you do business. It's the way you have fun. It's the way you communicate. It's the way you interact. So it's just that's the way it is. And if you're not on social media these days as a football program, then you're left behind. So if you're just keeping pace by being on social media, now if you can work it to your advantage, maybe you can do it better than your rival. That's another thing, but you have to be on it. And like you say, these kids are the best recruiters for these programs these days because they're going to be trusted by the kids that they played with or played against a little bit more than possibly a coach that they've only known for a couple months. So we've got Dan Rubin on the line from BC Interruption. Dan, we appreciate you reaching out and letting us know, hey, we're excited about what's going on at Boston College. We've got a couple guys in the door that we're excited about.
Hey, it's a great time to be an Eagle, as they say.